And welcome, folks. It is open mic night. I'm excited. This is League of DFS, feature of the Game Haus. My name is Chris Chung at Prime Time. We are definitely going to be talking about Rift Rivals today, but first, before we get there, I want to use the half of the show just to go over some of the past slates, what's been going on in the LECEC, LCS world as they, take a break right now, as well as they gear up for, some of the teams that are not part of this Rift Rival tournament are going to be working on getting better at the new patch and also trying to vie for the top spot again. So, unmistakably, the top three teams that are going to Rift Rivals remain sort of the top three teams in each respective region. However, I don't think that Origin was the only one that seems to have fallen out of favor, and potentially, oh, that's right, TSM also not securing that third place. But we will go over that in this first half of the video. So again, guys, if you want to jump on the show, the chat is open for any Twitch streamers. And also, if you want to just jump on the show to kind of like hear from you, give your grievances, give your comments, give your takes, we can talk about that too. I'll shoot you a DM to the link to this video. I don't anticipate too many people because right now it's really late in the day already for some of you, so I understand completely why you would not be able to jump on the show. But so let's just go ahead and start with the review now without any further ado. Let me make this larger so everyone could see what we're talking about. So let's start with the Friday slate. Now, I have to say this weekend was sort of up and down for me, but I finished well in the Sunday slate, so that puts me in the positive after the weekend. So this is how I gauge every week. I've been slumping throughout the whole week from the Asian regions. I have no idea what's going on. I know my friend Gelati thinks some game fixing, matchup fixing is going on. So I'm not sure entirely by that, but a lot of that has been going on in the regions. So I wouldn't put it past them. I really wouldn't put it past them. At the same time, those were really weighing on me because it's been 14 days or maybe 13 days that I couldn't even cash in regular double ups for the Asian region. So after the weekend, things sort of just mellowed out. So it was very helpful. And without further ado, let's also talk a little bit about what is happening in the two regions that we care about, because my show, we only focuses on the Western regions for the purpose of these games are only played on the weekend. They're best of ones. They're very much more friendly to cash game types of approaches. So that I hope that any advice that I give out, any things that I address would be a bit more consistent, would be a bit more predictable, rather than trying to play these short slates where it's very much feel like a small slate, like in the NFL or in the NBA when you play those non-main slate, small slate tournaments. So let me see. I think I will pull up my Prime disclosure to tell you what has been going on for myself, as well as just talking about what has been going on as far as my process. Talk a little bit of DFS here. So in the first day, as you can see, there weren't too many surprises, although certain outcomes were not surprising. I think some of the games were more so surprising to me of how these teams perform in the beginning. So the day started off with Vitality XL. Coming in this week, XL has been hot garbage. There was no other ways about it. And of course, everyone gave XL a lot of chances. Vitality was even more doubted. In the offseason, myself and a lot of people I know, we actually thought that Vitality would be the number 3 team by now, or at least vying for that spot in the number 3 teams in LEC. They were at the bottom. They had 0 wins after 2 weeks, coming into week 3 against XL, who also themselves couldn't get a win, but at least they showed a bit of signs of life. Well, some of our worries can be laid to rest, and I think this might be a good I don't know if it's I want to use the word turnaround, but Vitality is actually looking a little bit more of themselves in this game, where they beat up on XL, which they need to, which they should, and they were one of the major highest scoring teams of the day. So if you had to play in cash, you needed to have Vitality. If you wanted to win GPP, Vitality was the way to go. I, for one, wanted to be cute and decided to play XL, and so that really screwed me around. Not so much for my cash. I'll talk a little bit about my cash lineup soon. But Vitality gave up a really good score. I think it was around the 20 kills. Let's check it out. Yes, they had about 19 kills, so that was very high for a best of 1 in DFS. And XL only had 6, which is on the lower end, even for a losing team. When you want to pick a safe lineup, if you do decide to go an underdog route, typically you want, even if the underdog loses the game, you still want somewhere in the 12 to 15 kill range. Didn't get that from Vital XL, so skip that. Now, the second game was Splice and Rogue. Now, this game, I can't remember what the outcome is, but we can look at it. Yeah, it was a typical Splice game, low scoring. Rogue didn't really give up too much. There was an okay team to stack, but I wasn't particularly feeling Splice that day either. I thought they were safe, but not giving you that much upside. And that bears out. So that wouldn't have affected you if you stacked for tournaments or you stacked for cash. Splice was a bit too expensive anyway, so they wouldn't make for a good cash stack. More so GPP. And then the Schalke Origin game. This one was fun to watch. I think this one showed that Schalke really is an upgrade with Trick at jungle. They challenged Origin, and the game went on for a while, and it was a very close game, as you can see here from the final score. Now, Google is not always accurate, but I'm going to rely on this for a moment because I didn't want to surf all the other different websites. You see a very good spread and kills. Both top were high in the kills for each respective teams. There was a fair amount of assists from the jungle for Origin, and the bot lane upset for Schalke. And so it was a fairly close game. Now, you wouldn't break any slate with either of these teams. Perhaps if you played Origin team, that might have given you a good amount of points in their team slot. This game wasn't one that I had circled around. I thought Schalke would win, or I gave them every chance to win, but I wasn't surprised by the outcome of this game. And so, again, not much of a slate breaker, not much of a cash or GPP in either way, but it does give me some hope or some encouragement that Schalke is trending in the right direction. Origin, on the other hand, has really slowed down on the kills. I'm kind of disappointed by that because the first 2 weeks they showed this difference. You know, they showed something that I thought it was an evolution in their approach. They had a high amount of kills in the first week, and then they were only behind Fnatic in terms of kills after week 1. Come to find out, they really did needed to come back to what they're used to, focusing on the macro game, focusing on the map game. Now, their record isn't really reflective of where they're supposed to be positioned because they had to face G2 and Fnatic, who we know now are 2 of the best teams in Europe, or we know about G2, but Fnatic just showed up really well against Origin, and Fnatic was the team that lost to Origin in the spring split semi-final, or the qualifiers for the finals, and Origin beat them handily. It was a 3-0 sweep if I remember correctly, so we kind of thought that Origin would have been the better team, but coming into this week we already see that Fnatic was hitting all the cylinders. They didn't have their traditional slow start, and they're ready to try to take over the crown, and we'll talk a little bit about that game later. Now, SK Misfits. Now, this game, it was easily, you could have picked SK. DK and betting odds continue to favor Misfits for no reason whatsoever. They brought back Max Lore after Kirei has shown up well in previous week. Didn't understand that. And SK just, while it had a medium amount of score, they were cheap enough to be considered a winner for DraftKings purposes or DFS purposes, where you could stack them with a G2, stack them with a Fnatic, stack them with a Vitality. They came up really, really low, good in value, and they beat on Misfit. That was the important thing. Misfit continues to be this team that is overrated, overhyped. There is really, even when they brought back their coach, who's Moose, nothing seems to have changed. Febvin still is holding the team back, so as is a low-end average player. He'll be solid when you need it be, but nothing good can come out from him. He will not change your team into a winner. And then you have Maxlore, who personally I didn't think Maxlore was the issue, but Kirei was just brought in a new type of jolt of energy, which allowed Misfits to be more active around the map because he's a very aggressive jungler. And so it, without really, I think everyone saw it coming. SK was one of my cash fit, and I was kind of happy with the result, even though they didn't get a lot of kills. Vitality might have been better, but SK was cheaper still. So of all the underdogs of that day, if you will, SK was easily the one that you could bet on to take it for cash game. Now, coming into the final game of the day, G2 versus Fnatic. Everyone had G2 in mind. I had G2 in mind. I had a full G2 stack ready to go with my SK. And that game was just a bloodbath in the favor of Fnatic. Fnatic dominated from beginning to end. This is a new look on Fnatic, and I really like it because Nemesis is very comfortable. Nemesis is showing like non-traditional mid lane champs. He played Twisted Fate. I guess it's more meta right now because everyone wants to try out this new Korean solo queue, Twisted Fate. So there's that. But unfortunately for me, people were more in favor of Fnatic, and they stacked that side. Even if they were on the G2 side, they had Vitality. So nonetheless, I was bubbled out of cash. Had too many G2s. They didn't really put up enough of a score, 11 kills. So that didn't separate them too much from a Schalke. It didn't separate them too much from a Splice or Vitality. So that really cost me of the day in terms of cash. So let's look into Saturday. Now coming in, we had news that Misfit is going with Kirei and Leader. Now, they still had to face a tough matchup, so I wasn't expecting Misfit to win. I did expect Misfit to be more in use, or more aggressive in that sense. And so I will talk about that as we get to that game. But Vitality is really feeling themselves now. After they beat up on XL, I thought SK was going to win this game because I really like SK. I doubted them back in week 1, but SK came along, showed me some good stuff. But Vitality is getting frisky. 19 kills. Now, SK also had 19 kills. So either way that you could go to with the players that you play, it would have been a good result for you because these were some of the more inexpensive team of this slate. So this was the game I overlooked completely on my cheat sheet, and yeah, it cost me enough that I didn't even bother, even though it became such a fiesta that it would have been great for cash. I don't think many cash people went this route either, but for tournaments certainly there was a higher ownership on the SK side, which I neglected. Then we have the Schalke Misfit game. Now, again, I said Kiri and Leader was supposed to be good, and according to the stat, you'll see that they actually regressed a lot. They got beaten up. Schalke was easily the play of the day for a tournament stack because they're still cheap. People just don't like to pick Schalke players, and for whatever reasons, I don't understand why. So DK had them priced as a really cheap, like the lowest floor. Trick was cheap, Upset was cheap, Ignar was cheap. I think the only one that was priced up really was Odoamne, which I don't get, and the team side. Bookies still overrate Misfits, and you can take advantage of that. I think by next time that we see this Misfit, the bookies might kind of come back down, be a little bit more heady about it, and just would not place them as such a big fave anymore. So DraftKings will also adjust their prices to make sure that Misfit isn't a huge favorite where, you know, any team can beat them. At this point I think even like um, Rogue or XL can challenge Misfit. Now then, we come to Origin Splice. I really liked Origin here, and I was on the wrong side again. Sorry about that, guys. I was on the wrong side, and give me a moment. Splice played well. They really outplayed Origin. Give me a moment, guys. Someone. Sorry about that. Great interruption there. But Splice really showed up well. Throughout the whole game, they were in control. And really, there wasn't much Origin could do to sort of win in this game. And Origin really screwed themselves over and does not look like the third best team of does not look like the best team of the LEC right now. Sorry about that. And then we have Fnatic against XL. Here, Fnatic was a huge favorite coming in. I remember it was like somewhere like minus 1,000. And lo and behold, XL actually challenged them. XL dominated the early game. They got Fnatic, pushed them throughout the late game. They were in place to win. They even played the macros really well, as you can see here. Fnatic only took down one inhibitor, XL as well, but XL took all the dragons, or most of the dragons. They took the early Baron. They were up in kills. And then the team fight came along, and I am so glad Fnatic just pulled through at the end with a 19 kill, but XL was such a great play with low ownership and high kills. They made for a great stack with them, Schalke, Vitality, or SK. Though all of those were viable options to help you win the day. So, unfortunately or fortunately, I did go the Schalke route for my cash game, and that helped me cash in double ups. But my GPP, of course, nothing is probably shot because I didn't play enough of the Schalke. G2 bounced back. Their score was okay. There wasn't not as high as Fnatic, and they were more expensive, if I'm not mistaken. And so the G2 score was high in a sense that typically it's high, but there were other teams that scored higher. SK scored higher, Vitality scored higher, Schalke scored higher, Fnatic scored higher. All of them also had better assist scores. So GPP wise, G2 was not a good play. This is hindsight talking, of course. Going in, by all means, G2 you always have to consider being a good solid, gives you a solid floor, if not a very high floor. So that concluded the LEC slate, and so if we look into the standings, let's see here. Let's see LEC standing. As you can see behind the scenes of all the things, we now have, let's see, Fnatic being number 1, G2 Splice number 3, tied for number 4 is Origins SK Schalke, tied for 7 Rogue, Vitality, Misfits, and of course the winless poor XL bringing up the rear. I think this around the second half, or we could call it second half, but after Rift Rivals, the return of LEC is around July 12th. We'll see a upsurge by Vitality. I think they are trending in the right directions. They have all their hard games out of the way for now, I believe. And then SK is also on the upswing. And SK is, I don't know yet. I don't know how if we can fully buy into SK. What I do expect is that Splice will not maintain that third seed. I just don't see it. They're still playing their style. They're still a solid team, but when you're talking about upside, Schalke has better upside. Vitality has better upside. SK has better upside. So Misfit is also scraping bottom right now, and as much as I want to hate on them, if they continue to play Kyrie in leader, I expect them to make a jump. How much of a jump? Possibly, likely, barely missing playoffs, or in the conversation of making the last play of playoffs. I think they can if they change their approach, if they change out their players, they could overtake SK. I'm not ruling that out. That's something to look forward to. And so Rift Rivals will be represented and from the LEC by G2, will be represented by Fnatic, will be represented by Origin. That's it for the Friday slate. So let's talk LCS. You know, everyone wants to know this is the best region, right? Best region of... yeah, I'm only joking when I talk about that. So, Saturday. Now, this was a tilting day for me. A lot of upsets. A lot of craziness that went on here. And just really, it bothered me a lot because I feel like I misread the whole day coming in on this slate. So guys, if you are wanting to jump on the chat, if you want to jump into Google Hangouts, it's time to talk, please let me know. Just hit me up on my Twitter and I will send you the link again for you to join and talk League of Legends. We will be previewing Rift Rivals soon. I know the slate is just put up not too long ago right now on DraftKings, and while I won't be spending too much time breaking down the salary, I will just give my brief kind of overview of what my thoughts are about the days. It's going to be fun. It's Rift Rivals Western Regions. Okay, so let's talk LCS. We start the day off with Liquid Guardians. I think that was the first game. Naturally, I always have Liquid as one of my higher end plays. They won. They didn't really win. Okay, I'm sorry. They did win big. But Guardians did put up a decent amount of score as well, so they would have been a great play for the day as a stack. Of course, you have to stack it with the right team, which is something that I did not do. I was tunnel vision on C9. C9 is going to beat 100 Thieves. I didn't believe 100 Thieves last week win. Their first win against Echo Fox was going to convince me of other things wise. Lo and behold, for the next 3 games I'm talking, they were major upsets. Optics coming into the day, they said Crown was out, right? Crown was out. Something to do with health, and they would start their academy mid laner Scarlet. Scarlet being as good as he is in academy, he didn't really win all his game in academy, and I didn't expect him to win on a bigger stage. He was just a fill-in needing to grow. Beating TSM. What is going on? Like, I had all the TSM in my GPP. I didn't think they were safe cash plays because I thought that TSM could probably win with a low score. To lose to an Optics with a substitution mid laner makes no sense whatsoever. But this is what the LCS is. Week 4 coming in. You thought you had a good process. You thought you knew what was going on for 3 weeks, and then coming into week 4, this kind of crap happens. Optics won. Not only that they win handily. If you watch the game, one of the games you probably would like to watch, they won in a fashion that didn't allow TSM to make a comeback at all. And TSM had all the all-stars there. You had Bjergsen, you had Sven, you had Smoothie, you had Broken Blade. Acadian was played in there. Okay, I had in all my TSM lineup Greg because I thought, oh, last week they came back from a 2-0 weekend because Greg played both days. And then they scoop in Acadian. I'm just like, what the hell? Now, TSM is one of the teams that, I'm sorry, Nick, I love you, but your team just doesn't announce their roster in time for us to make that decision how they'll play and their jungler, and it just annoys me to no end. Cost me a lot in DFS because of that. Cost a lot of some people too because they come in thinking they're gonna beat up on Optics. They have, they'll continue to roll with what was working. No, TSM just decide to be a counter logic gaming type of. Okay, now it should probably make sense now that I think about it because who's their head coach? It was the former CLG head coach. Gosh, that was so tilting. But this is not the most tilting thing. I had a full C9 stack. Nobody except 100 Thief, Faithful, Nate Shot probably would think that 100 Thieves was winning when they're facing against the number 2 team of the LCS. And then 100 Thieves just never gave an inch. They were really active early on. They catch Cloud9s, they pick them off. I think Cloud9 also had like a bad comp. Let me see what they had. The game was played from the bottom. Afromu didn't die enough. Had a lot of assists. Bang was playing really well. Ryu was solid. Fake God didn't even need to do much. He just need to survive. He plays his Aatrox. He was tanking it up. And Amazing was probably the superstar of 100 Thieves right now. I'm not even kidding. This is the guy that I know John and this guy's like a gold card, and I'm really throwing John under the bus saying that he's nothing special, he's average, whatnot. Amazing is bringing a sort of a leadership and some stability to this 100 Thieves team, and it showed from week 2 on. Again, in a few episodes before, you would hear me say I would throw out week 1 because he just arrived from Europe, got into the LCS, and just played literally on that same day. So he needed rest, he needed to get acclimated. But then you saw week 2 where 100 Thieves did go 0-2, but Amazing was the only playable character or playable person from a DFS perspective. So you're trying to like pay attention to what is he doing, and you see him being a very, very good jungler. This game was no difference. His Gragas play was very good. His ults just scattered C9 players, always bring them back when they're trying to escape, and C9 just collapsed. Of course, they also played Blaber. I missed the complete news that Blaber was going to sub in, and naturally, I'm taking a 0 in my cash game because I have a lot of Svenskeren in there. So another tilting thing, it didn't really matter because, you know, I had C9 and another team that I'm going to talk about next. Both of them lost in the most embarrassing fashion. And as you can tell from the score here, or maybe you can't see it, but C9 couldn't do a damn thing. Licorice was the only bright spot of that day, and that wasn't even saying much because his KDA was 5-4-1. Nothing. They could do nothing. And 100 Thieves is showing up right now, and it is time to just reevaluate this iteration. This roster of 100 Thieves might just work for this split. Don't know how far they can go, but it's actually more exciting than the other Soligo and Someday. I'm sorry. I wish Someday wasn't an import. I think this team can go even further heights if Someday actually played with this with Ryu, with Bang, with Amazing, with Afromu. It just can't happen because of the LCS import rule. So the other team that I stacked, I knew this game was going to be close. I had some CLG FlyQuest, CLG stack going on, but I thought this is FlyQuest. It's time for them to bounce back. They have to pull through because if they lose this weekend, their conversation for playoffs is dead in the water. Lo and behold, what happened? They lied down and died. Poe Belter, love you, always keeps dying. I think Calvin just even suspected that he was throwing games. Don't know. But he played particularly poor in that game, and I do feel bad for the guy. I saw his tweet how he's didn't feel like he's on his best playing, and that he's costing his team the wins or costing his team the game. Admittedly, so kudos to him for admitting that. But the day was won by CLG. They were the better play because they were priced as underdogs. And were they priced as underdogs? No, they were not, because I thought FlyQuest would win and FlyQuest was played the under. Anyways, CLG is on an upswing. They're playing well right now, and I'm impressed. I'm impressed by this combo of Ruin. Wiggly is coming to his own, and Stixxay and Biofrost are playing solid, and that's good for CLG. If you ask me what my trust factor is in this team, I would have to say it's less than 50%, less than 40%. CLG will surprise you, and I will talk about that in tomorrow, about in the second day. So Then we have the last game of the day where everyone knew that Clutch was going to beat Echo Fox. And they did it in a decent fashion, 12 to 9 kills. Fox did fight back. Fox actually played their academy roster, which I didn't expect it. I didn't have any much Fox stack anyways. But Clutch was easily the team that everyone was on because they were priceless underdogs. I didn't understand that. I don't know what you're doing, DraftKings, but everyone knew to play Clutch, and they played well. And they played well. They beat out Echo Fox. They gave you a 12 kill, which is something that you always would like as for a cash approach, is that your team can put up a 12 kill. But my day it felt crappy. It really felt crappy because I finished at the bottom of all my double ups because I had FlyQuest, I had C9. Stupid me, because Clutch was the chalk. Liquid was the chalk. Don't know why I went that direction. Okay, come Sunday. Now, we have a couple of games where I'm like, what in the world happened? I don't understand, and we will get there. But coming into this day, I knew that C9 and the Liquid were going to be chalk because they have an easier matchup. Maybe not so much easier against CLG, but for that matter, I did decide to go the Liquid route. I think they were the first game of the day. Oh, no, they were not. Liquid route. And that really saved me because why? C9 had a very, very low scoring game for a winner. One which, it would cost you because they were the most expensive team price for the day. So if they only give you a medium score, like a 12 kill, 13 kill, it's not going to be enough. In DFS, when you pay up for the most expensive team of the slate, you want a minimum of 16 kills. Again, picking the winner is okay. You need to pick a winner at a value that you know will provide you the score needed, because you know that other people priced lower than that team can catch up, especially if you're in the 12 to 15 kind of skill range. All the teams under, cheaper than the most expensive team, have the potential to catch up, to match it, to even exceed it. So that might have been the reason why I shied a little away from C9. I thought Team Liquid, being the second most expensive team, were they most expensive? I don't even know. Had an easier matchup than them, and that they would put up their typical 17 kills. We'll just jump to that game right now because that's exactly what Team Liquid had. They dominated the game. They Clutch didn't int like they used to, but at the same time they couldn't outplay Team Liquid, and Team Liquid was just controlling the game from beginning to end. And you have a great showing by Xmethy. Anytime Xmethy is showing up well, the team does well. Did get enough from Jensen, didn't get enough from Double Lift. They were okay. Core JJ was a good play again, solid support that you would always play and be comfortable with because he'll be in the double digits of assist. Clutch put up a okay showing, as much as they can against the best team of LCS. What can you do, right? Yeah. And then let's go to 100 Thieves and FlyQuest game. Now, FlyQuest is in a desperate situation. Really desperate. Their playoff hopes are slipping out of their hands. But everyone and their mom knows 100 Thieves is on a roll. FlyQuest is not. And yet DraftKings had the galls to price 100 Thieves as, if not the cheapest, the one before the cheapest team. And so that's an easy chalk game that you play. You just pick 100 Thieves. That's your chalk. Boom. You're good. You're just good. Yeah. And that's where I went. 100 Thieves and Team Liquid. That was my cash stack. It got me into a couple of GPP. Cashing, not exactly takedown. It looked good for me after the Team Liquid and 100 Thieves game. And then we came to the late slate. Oh, baby. We were talking about, if TSM starting Acadian again, you should go Golden Guardians. Because Acadian has a 0-4 record. I made a couple of TSM stack. I thought they would bring back Grig. Kind of pull the plug on the Acadian experiment. No. They went back to Acadian. So, funny story here. People, TSM fans, analysts, they all stated, oh, it's not Acadian's fault. It just so happens that every time he plays, that TSM is playing poorly. Even in the last game, and I would agree when I looked in the game, it wasn't so much Acadian's fault from the Saturday slate that the team lost. So I was like, okay, we'll give it to him. It's probably not him, but just something about the team itself. Now, Acadian did win in this game. TSM did win, but they won despite Acadian, because Acadian 0-5, 5 kills. I mean 5 deaths, most deaths of the team. It almost cost them the game. You know, Golden Guardian played them close until at some point where they were in line to win, but you know, TSM being TSM, they always channel the late game Bjergsen to carry, and Bjergsen carried them indeed with 12 kills. 12! Now, the TSM does this every single split once in a while, where they are just to the point where the team is about to lose. Somehow he channels this incredible hug, or I don't know what it is, maybe some adrenaline flowing in him. And he goes massive, just carries TSM to a victory. TSM has 25 kills in this game. 25! There is no way you are taking down any GPP without playing TSM. Now, Golden Guardians being the underdog price, they have a decent score as well with 14 kills. It's better than Cloud9. See, being Cloud9 being the most expensive and yet scoring less than they won, that's still scoring less than a losing team. You can see why C9 stack would not get you much. Maybe it can get you the cash, but definitely it would be difficult to stack with them. Maybe if you stack with Golden Guardians, that would have been okay for you in cash. Not so much in tournaments, not so much in GPP. But the idea is TSM is not this invincible heavy defensive team. Golden Guardians is going to probably be matchup agnostic. Maybe not so much against Team Liquid, but they're probably matchup agnostic. So meaning anytime they're underdogs, they are probably giving you close to 10 kills. For a losing team, for an underdog team, that's a great price to pay. So this is a team I'm looking to going forward. But I will just have to see who they're facing. They may be on the upswing. They're an exciting team. They remind me a little bit of C9 Light in a way that they score, not so much in the way that they play. Because they will generate kills. Froggen definitely, Centauran, Contracts, Hanser, Ole. They will generate kills. Okay, so maybe not so much Ole. I wanted to believe in him. He kind of looked good after the first 3 weeks, and then sort of just crapped out even in this high scoring game for him. Just crapped out this whole weekend. And then Optics, this last game, mother effing tilted. Optics that just beat TSM the day before, with Scarlet in mid, playing against the worst team of LCS, arguably the lesser talented Echo Fox, who is starting Lorlo, who is starting Panda, the Academy guys in their top lane, much like what they did on Saturday Slate. And Optics got their butts whooped, 15-6. What happened? I don't know. Optics is confusing to me. I wanted to believe in this team, and then they do something like this. They give you hope, beating TSM. They take that hope away, losing to Echo Fox. A backup Echo Fox. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to think. I really don't. Maybe Echo Fox has this moxie, has this surgeons. Any matchup that you see Echo Fox going into, you'll never consider them the favorite, but somehow they pull off upsets like this every once in a while. I mean, and that confuses me. LCS is confusing, guys. I don't know what to think of the LCS. Well, let's talk Rift Rivals. I haven't seen any callers. I haven't seen any guys jumping in the chat room, so it feels pretty empty. But we're almost up to an hour by now. So let's not waste any more time. We have the Thursday slate. I think DraftKings has broken it down to the early slate being the first 3 games, and then necessarily C9 and Fnatic plays again, so they have to break it up in the slate. So you'll have sort of like a late slate where you have the TSM Origin and the Cloud9 Fnatic games all in one slate as well. So Rift Rivals, exciting. This is the bragging rights for EU and NA. I think NA won last season. Yes, NA won last season. Let me double check that. I don't want to spout hearsay. I know Fnatic was one of the stronger teams out there, but Rift Rivals was won by North America. Oh no, Europe won. So they hold the bragging rights because Fnatic was good last year, was much better, and this year, MSI champion Origin, MSI champion G2 is in the building. Beat Korea. But we're not looking down on Team Liquid because Team Liquid took down the world champion Invictus Gaming. Okay, that's a joke. Because no, they did win, but Invictus was a joke back then. Invictus is smurfing right now, even in their LPL. So the heavy favorite coming into this, everyone is considering, giving Europe all the hype, all the due hype, and they should probably win MSI. I mean, this Rift Rivals. Oh, I'm getting things come. I've never recorded it for an hour before, but everyone believes that EU LEC will win. I'm actually hype. I actually think a lot of these matches are closer than they appear, and that teams will pull out a lot of cheese, will pull out a lot of fun composition, a lot of new strategies. So let's break this down. Of course, again, I say I wouldn't be talking about the DraftKings stuff, but I'll give you a broad idea of what we can expect going into Rift Rivals. So the first game, C9 G2, I think this will be a bloody game. Even if it's not, you just give all the credence to G2 that they will win this game and win in a fun fashion. So your stack will probably, likely, most definitely have to start with G2. You can fade them for tournament. This is a 3-game slate, so it's a little bit different. Oh no, it's a 2-game slate. Oh man, they just split up the first 2 and the second 2. Okay, so this is a short slate. Fading G2 is a bold move, but it might be a necessary move if you want to differentiate yourself from the field. I think there is no way that I'm fading G2 in cash. It's just going to be a staple game. Because the Fnatic and Team Liquid game, I think it's going to be much closer. Now, this is interesting. It's hot takey. I know Fnatic is the best team in Europe right now. Number 1, they just beat G2 in a very high, fun fashion, showing me something different about Fnatic. I think this is close to maybe a 45-50 matchup, a 55 matchup in favor of Fnatic necessarily. But I'm giving Team Liquid a sneaky opportunity. I think they have a solid enough group. If Xmithy can match Broxa, and Impact can tilt Bwipo, because Reckless has not been as active. Believe it or not, I love Reckless, but Fnatic has not needed to play around Reckless as much, not needed to count on him. Might make him rusty. Advantage goes to bot lane of Team Liquid, in my opinion. Even though I know Helisang is good, I think Core JJ is better. Double Lift, Core JJ, Jensen. Nemesis is still a rookie. Just know that this is Nemesis's first international events as far as major stage LCSE, LEC goes. I think I might lean Liquid for my tournament stack. The salary is loose enough. I think you can probably play Fnatic G2, but it's very likely that you'll be coming up with a very much stuck with the limited options at captain, you know. Yeah, well, let's see what happens when I try to build it. Not gonna show you guys. Yeah, we're gonna be stuck with either a support at captain or some other player, maybe like a top. Nope, not even. If I do this, G2, Yanko, so we can actually get. Yeah, so you can still stack up Fanatics in G2 with more Fanatics. Maybe that'll be one way to go. But cash, I'm thinking the field will likely just lean EU, LEC, Fanatics, G2. I think it's safe. I just really do. It's just a matter of how you want to combine them, which players you're playing in the captain spot, in all the other spots, and how you differentiate yourself. But again, Liquid, I believe in you. Man, please believe it. C9. I'm not ruling them out. Maybe this is the game stack you want to go. Everyone else wants to pick the 2 winner. You just go C9 G2. Hope for a bloody Fiesta, more bloody than Liquid Fanatics combined, and then you have yourself a differentiated lineup making. And then the second game, TSM Origin C9 Fnatic. Yeah, I don't know what to think about TSM and Origin. They don't look like the third best teams of their each respective region, and so it's a coin flip game for me, which makes it fun. Both teams are great for macro play. They don't need the team fight. They don't need the high kill range. As much as I want to love TSM, I think Origin just has the better coaching. Gilhoto is impressive, and Origin is transforming. TSM has more or less remained the same to me from spring to now, and Origin is the one that's showing most growth. I'm going to give the edge to Origin here. And the last game of the day will be Cloud9 against Fnatic. Hopefully Cloud9 can bring their A game, bring some creativity, bring some out-of-the-box thinking. I'm sure Fnatic has already prepared themselves well since they are able to beat G2, but again, I think that G2 game that they won, G2 was just smurfing. They were just trying weird stuff. I mean, Caps was in top lane, and soon enough, he'll figure out that top lane is not as easy to play as his traditional mid lane role. So, if Cloud9 can bring a strong and creative playstyle, I'm gonna be so terrified if they try to bring out the Sona Taric combo again. But that's such a C9 thing to do. It could be a much closer game. Game stack, that would be the game route I would go, and then have Origin as team. But for picking winners, I would say Origin Fnatic for that slate. Yeah. So good luck, guys. Didn't hear much from y'all. I hope to have more open mic nights. This video will be up on our site, the Game Haus. Thank you for hosting my show, and we'll be having more content. Please visit our site. People are writing recaps of each of the games as quickly as possible. While they're not DFS centric, they will give you an idea about how to think about players, because I was able to pick out a couple of solo player performances, which allowed me to just build my lineups around. It's great information. These guys are hungry. These guys are very good in their writing. Visit our site, thegamehaus.com. That's how it's spelled on here, as you can see. Please let me know if you enjoyed this type of open mic night. I would want to, of course, have more engagement with y'all. I would want more of you to learn about the fun that is daily fantasy League of Legends, just a different way of playing League of Legends, paying attention to League of Legends, growing this sport, and just having fun together. I'm sure y'all are somehow tired of my tilting at times. I promise you, I am refining my process constantly, and hope to be back on a winner's circle soon. And one of these days, I'll just hope to have that takedown. I feel it. It's coming closer and closer, and I hope to get it even before Worlds, because that is another exciting event. So, guys, hit me up at Prime Time on Twitter. can find this video. If you couldn't make it to the live video, you can find this video on our YouTube site, the Game Haus. Subscribe, leave feedback, leave comments. I'm thinking of doing a prize for something, and just give me ideas. I mean, I will give away one of my poros. How about that? If you guys are interested in that, hit me up. I will I will create a contest for us all that we can all enjoy. It may not have to do with DFS. It may just be a sweepstake. It may be a drawing of sorts, or it may be, just a trivia. Maybe that'll be fun as well. So until next time, guys, thank you for watching the show, and follow, subscribe, and we'll see you all at the Rift.